All right, so you can go ahead, Councillor Harris.
Great, thank you, Tammy. Hi, everyone. Thank you for meeting via Zoom today for our the latest meeting for community safety and well-being. We have a presentation that will be by Chief Greenwood and Barrie Police Services, and I believe it also by Alex. So at this time, I will pass it on over to Chief Greenwood. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. I know that with the pandemic, we've had different ways that we have adapted, and it's nice to see everyone joining us remotely. Sometimes it's nice to have that face-to-face contact, but we've become very adaptable, so that is wonderful. And I can say the work that Staff Sergeant Gates and Alex Way and some of our partners that have been involved from the working group perspective have continued to work on the community safety and well-being plan. So there was a document that was sent out this morning. Thank you very much for that, Tammy. And what we would like to do today is from the document, which is a spreadsheet, we have consistently captured 4 themes. So a safer Barrie by working together, connected communities are safer communities, and safety for everyone, and prepared and protected. So those are our action themes. We've color coded them so of ease of looking through the Excel spreadsheet. And I'm happy to report many of the statuses are green for these initiatives. There are some yellow noted there. And I can say that there is continued work being done. Staff Sergeant Gates and myself will be meeting with the Simcoe County to address some of the homelessness pieces there. So what I would like to do from an overall perspective, what we hope we're meeting here today on November the 16th, we'll review the color-coded spreadsheet through the PowerPoint presentation. We will seek feedback from everybody, and I think it would be important in principle, as we have done at our previous meeting, in principle we approve the concepts that were listed there. So we will take everybody's feedback from this meeting. We will send out a final version for everybody's approval by December the 11th. That is our target date. An opportunity for community committee members to review the document, and we'll have a deadline of 1 week. So December the 18th, materials and comments from members of the committee will provide it back to us, and we will have a voting mechanism if that meets the standards of a City of Barrie process, if we can vote finally on the 18th of December, and then we will send it off to the designers, and we hope to have it back from the designers by January the 8th. And this is all subject to the City of Barrie standards and what the community would like to see from this. So I'm hoping after the presentation we can have some robust discussions to ensure that we are meeting everybody's needs that are sitting on this committee. So I would ask that Alex, if you could share the screen with everybody, please. And we'll go through each of the themes, the action items, who are the leads, and then potential risks to those items.
All right. Thanks, Chief Greenwood. Can folks give me a thumbs up if they can see this blue progress update slide? Yeah, we're good. Okay, well, for those maybe following in on the live stream or whatever, and I haven't had the chance to introduce myself, I'm Alex Way. I work at Mass LBP, a small participatory policy design consulting firm, and we've been working with the police service for a number of months now to help develop this plan in partnership with lots of organizations across Barrie. And I'm going to give you guys a quick run through of where we're at, what's happened since July 6th when we met last, status of various items, and next steps. Chief Greenwood's done a good job of summarizing a lot of that already, so I'll move at a reasonable clip. Happy to, if there's a really pressing important question to clarify, happy to take that as we go, but also hoping that we can have a good discussion afterwards. All right, so in terms of an overview, right, we're in the process at the moment of finalizing a draft community safety and well-being plan for Barrie for the review and approval of this committee. The plan is based on actions that were originally proposed by the Barrie Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan Working Group, which met in early 2020. That phase was informed by a community survey and additional community consultations. Then on July 6th, the actions at that point were reviewed and given sort of provisional endorsement by this committee. At that point, we didn't have committed leads for each action. We just had the concepts in place. So since July, what we've been doing is working to identify the leads and the partners for each action. We've modified actions based on the conversations we've been having with those who have stepped up to act as leads and partners on each of the actions. We have, sorry, something's blocking my screen here. We've written up each of the actions with about 2 or 3 pages of explanatory text, which when compiled together form the majority of the community safety and wellbeing plan. We've adjusted some of the themes that were originally proposed on July 6th in terms of the risk factors and the actions themselves. And we've prepared some additional materials to be included in the community safety and wellbeing plan. So that's a process overview, descriptions of the risk factors, things like that. So we've made a lot of progress since July, and we're in the final stretches here and hoping to get some further direction from members of the committee so that we can bring this to a completion. I won't go over background in great detail. You've got your legislative requirements, right, in terms of what the community safety wellbeing plan is meant to do on the left there. But conceptually, right, we're trying to find new ways for municipal and community partners to work together to achieve shared goals that reflect community priorities. We want to build off existing efforts, encourage new collaborations as a way to achieve more, given the limits of our available resources. And once the plan receives council's endorsement, plan partners will begin working to implement identified actions with the support of the city. So it's meant to be really a shared plan with multiple organizations playing a role, with the city and the police service providing some backbone support. So back in July, you'll recall this slide I showed you with the actions at that point, the 13 actions at that point that we were working with. There were 5 different categories that we've been working on developing, and a 13th item around pandemic preparedness. In terms of a quick update, we've reorganized some of the risk factors that are driving the action items in the plan to make them a little easier to grasp. We've gone from 5 to 4. There's services under stress risk factor theme, which covers fragmented services, funding issues, caregiver and service provider burnout, working in silos. The holding together risk factor really relates to issues like social isolation, weak community bonds, discrimination, limited mobility in public transit. These sort of fragile conditions really refer to a lot of the social determinants of health, opioid use and other addictions, homelessness, lived experience of trauma, mental illness, lack of appropriate affordable housing, low paid precarious employment, poverty and food insecurity. And then this 4th category of risk factors, these emerging threats that were identified early in the process, human trafficking, gang activity, organized crime, vulnerability to online threats, youth vaping. So part of the plan ultimately is a map of risk factors. Not all the risk factors ultimately get addressed in the first community safety and wellbeing plan. We prioritize certain of these factors when we design the actions. But this was the map of risk factors that was originally produced and then follows through into the rest of the document. We've organized the actions under 4 categories that roughly line up with these these risk factors, but given them some new titles to describe the type of action that falls under each of them. So there's a safer Barrie by working together, connected communities are safe communities, the concept that safety is really for everyone. So we have to think about our most vulnerable, and also the importance of being prepared and protected from those emerging threats that were identified. Under each of these action themes, there's a series of actions that have been developed in conversation with partners throughout Barrie. So what I'm going to do now is going to walk you through them one by one. If everybody does have that spreadsheet that was circulated earlier today, that's an easy way to follow along. I'm just going to break out each of the action themes and walk you through each of the actions and provide a little bit of an overview of how this has changed. What I don't show on these slides is kind of where these actions evolved from in the July 6th presentation. But if you look at your spreadsheet, there is over on the right side of the column, right side of the page, a column that identifies the July 6th action from which this action emerged or has evolved. So if you're interested in following that, you can check your spreadsheet. So I'll start with the safer Barrie by working together. This is the action area with the most actions at the moment. A lot of interesting collaborations being identified as important and valuable. The first one, which hasn't changed much at all since July 6th, is that the City of Barrie and partners will launch an annual Community Safety and Wellbeing Forum to review shared progress and strengthen working relationships. So we're happy that the City of Barrie has agreed to take this on as the lead, and we've had a couple of partners step forward who've expressed interest in supporting this step. So that's the Downtown Barrie Business Association, the Barrie Police Service, and the Barrie Native Friendship Center. There's a couple of priority risk factors that are identified in the middle of your screen there: fragmented services and working in silos. And we've marked that as a green or a good to go in terms of an action moving forward, because we have a lead, we've got some partners, it's clear, it's straightforward, everyone's signed on and ready to roll. The second of the actions here is the signatories of the new Barrie Health Accord will undertake a community-wide planning process that will lead to coordinated and sustainable investment in the determinants of health. This addresses, again, some priority risk factors, the funding issues, and working in silos. The Barrie Health Accord is something that's come out of conversations between the City of Barrie, the Barrie Police Services, RVH, the County of Simcoe, and the District Health Unit. This is a new action that's been added into the plan since July 6th. We're happy to see that integrated into the plan, and it's also marked green, ready to go, given that we've got a number of organizations signed on to the accord and ready to work to implement it. The third action, Barrie Police Service and partners will strengthen the Collaborate Barrie situation table as a way to improve responses to situations where an individual is at significant risk of harm. Happy to have Barrie Police Service sign on to take this one forward. You can see the risk factors there. We've got a couple of partners also identified. The Probation and Parole Office, Salvation Army Barrie Bayside Mission Center is also interested in supporting this work. And we've got it in the green category in terms of its status, given what we've got in terms of partners and clarity about what that will entail. Barrie Police Service will work with partners to develop a proposal and build community support for a community justice center in Barrie. That's the fourth action under this theme. Again, thank you, Barrie Police Service, for stepping up to push this one ahead. A number of similar organizations have stepped up to support: Barrie Probation and Parole Office, Salvation Army Barrie, and the Downtown Barrie Business Association. Fifth, Barrie Police Service and partners will work towards creating a community facility where individuals can access a range of health and social services from multiple providers in a coordinated fashion. Earlier in the July presentation, there was an action related to developing new community spaces and facilities, community infrastructure, and we spent some time looking for an appropriate organization to help lead an initiative to create some new facilities that could draw people together and provide great services. And the Barrie Police Service is interested in stepping up to explore this initiative. So a community facility where individuals could access a range of health and social services from multiple providers. We're still working to identify some partners to include in the final community safety and well-being plan on that action item, but with Barrie Police Services energy behind it, we've marked that as a green status item. The last action on this slide here under this current theme is Barrie Police Service and CMHA Simcoe County working together to identify and implement actions that increase access to the mental health services that have the greatest impact on community safety. We've got some tentative agreement with CMHA to do some work regarding improving the mental health services, access to the mental health services that really do support community safety, specifically what those service improvements might look like and how the partnership between Barrie Police Service and CMHA Simcoe County will unfold is a little bit unclear. So we're working on clarifying some of those details, which is why at the moment we've got that as a yellow status item. We're hoping it will come together. We've got strong support from CMHA to explore this together, but marked it yellow for now because there's still some lack of clarity around exactly what this might entail. In terms of the second theme, connected communities or safe communities, these are really focused on building those social bonds that help keep people safe and strengthen our community. Two action items here. First was one related to volunteering in Barrie, and very happy to report that Barrie Public Library has stepped up to lead an effort to increase the number of active volunteers in Barrie. So this is the Information Barrie team out of the Barrie Public Library. Georgian College and Salvation Army have also signed on to support that work. And we've marked that as a green status item. We're in conversation with the Barrie Association of Volunteer Administrators as a potential further partner on this one, but haven't confirmed them yet. Georgian College and partners will launch a Barrie Inclusion Campaign team that coordinates efforts to involve every resident in creating a safe and welcoming Barrie. It's the second action under this theme. So thank you to Georgian College for stepping up to take a role on this one. We also have Barrie Native Friendship Center, the City of Barrie's Accessibility and Diversity Advisor, and SCADA signed on to support and work with Georgian College on this initiative. Under our third action category, safety is for everyone. Got 5 actions. The first is the Barrie Mayor's Office and the Barrie Police Service are convening the Barrie Anti-Racism Task Force, which will help guide anti-racism action throughout Barrie. So this is a new action that's emerged from conversations over the last many months in Barrie, but addresses the priority risk factor identified earlier on around discrimination and fits well within the efforts of the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan. So happy to have that included here, marked also as green, because Barrie's Mayor's Office and the Barrie Police Service are working to put this in motion. The second action under this theme is the Simcoe-Muskoka District Health Unit, working with partners in Barrie to reduce harms from drug use by increasing access to naloxone, advancing plans for other harm reduction services, and creating an updated Simcoe-Muskoka drug strategy. The priority risk factor obviously here is opioid use and other addictions. CMHA Simcoe County has agreed to support this work. And this is work that's the district health units pushing forward on, so we're happy to have them helping out in that regard. The third action relates to trauma-informed services, a theme that emerged in a lot of the conversations early on. Women and Children's Shelter of Barrie and the Barrie Public Library have agreed to partner up to expand training about how to provide really wonderful trauma-informed service throughout Barrie. Barrie Police Services, City of Barrie to support that as partners. And this responds to lived experience of trauma as a priority risk factor. And we're good to go on that one as well. The City of Barrie will consult the community safety and wellbeing plan partners and others on how to best improve community safety when the city updates its 10-year affordable housing strategy. So this is a way for us to link together the community safety and wellbeing plan and another important plan or strategy that the city approves, the 10-year affordable housing strategy that'll be updated in 2025. The priority risk factor here is homelessness, lack of appropriate affordable housing. The lead is the City of Barrie, and the partners are all those that would be involved in the consultation. So the CSWB plan partners. This was marked yellow as of yesterday, but we've had a couple of good conversations with folks over at City Planning Division, and they've been able to give this the thumbs up, the green light, in terms of an action item. So we've marked that as green as well. And then the last action item here, which is yellow, at the moment in terms of its status, is related to establishing a homelessness response coordination and accountability table. The conversations around housing and homelessness in particular have obviously been a key theme throughout a lot of the process of developing this, this plan. The challenge being that there's a lot of action already going on around this issue. So identifying what new needs to be done and who can take that on in a way that would actually make a difference in this really challenging topic area is something we've been in conversation with a number of people about. We're hoping that the County of Simcoe will take this on. We're in preliminary conversations with them about being a host to convene this kind of a table to talk about how we coordinate and remain accountable to each other when it comes to homelessness response. But at the moment, we don't have confirmation of that yet. So we're hoping that the lead would be the County of Simcoe. The City of Barrie would be a partner along with members appointed to that table. Under the last action theme, the prepared and protected theme, 2 actions to describe to you. First is Barrie Police Service and partners working to help protect at-risk residents from online risks and phone scams. Not much has changed here since we last shared this with you on July 6th, other than Barrie Police Service and Georgian College have signed on to push this initiative ahead. So thanks to Barrie Police Service as the lead and to Georgian College as a partner in this. And then Georgian College and partners launching the Barrie, sorry, that one is not the right text there. So that last one should read the City of Barrie updating a pandemic plan. So the text is right in your spreadsheet, I believe. If you look at your spreadsheet, it says the City of Barrie and partners down at the bottom will develop an updated City of Barrie pandemic plan so that organizations in Barrie are well prepared to work together in the event of a future pandemic. And the lead is obviously the City of Barrie, but partnered with Simcoe Muskoka District Health Unit, who is doing pandemic planning at a county-wide level. And those plans nest together and fit up. So those are the 15 actions. Both of those on this one are green. So most in green, a couple of yellows still to be resolved. Here's an overview. Together we will achieve all of these action items over the next 4 years under these 4 categories. And I'll just give you a quick update on how this turns into an actual plan, an actual document to go before this committee and then to council. This is a quick table of contents. You've got your executive summary, a purpose and process description, a snapshot of Barrie today that includes the identified risk factors organized by theme. And then the bulk of the report is these 15 actions, which are organized by theme and then include text related to each of the bullet points on the right side of the page here. So that's, the action itself, the priority risk factors that are being addressed as along with additional risks, the rationale for that action, why it's important, the leads, the partners, the steps, the role for the City of Barrie in supporting that action, and the anticipated outcomes. So we've got a lot of that text prepared and ready to roll. We're in kind of final tweaking mode when it comes to many of these items, and are happy to hopefully be able to pull this all together in the next couple of weeks to bring it in front of you again. In terms of next steps, hoping to today, confirm committee support for the actions that are listed. Confirm also that the committee is prepared to proceed with the plan in the event that we're not able to confirm leads for the 2 yellow action items. Obviously, we're really hopeful that we'll be able to move forward with CMHA in the County of Simcoe. But in the event that we're not able to move forward, whether there are any concerns with having the plan put before you and then council without those actions included, and any sort of mitigation strategies we should consider. And then in terms of next steps, we'll complete the final draft of the plan, share that plan with you January at the latest, but December I think would be ideal, as Chief Greenwood has outlined earlier. Have the committee review, approve the plan, present to council, hopefully council approval in Q1, and then publishing and supporting that implementation over the course of the next 4 years. So that's it for me in terms of the slides. I know I moved through that at quite a clip, but happy to take questions. If people want me to flip back to particular slides, happy to do that. But for the moment, what I'll do is I'll sit us here at this slide so folks can take a look, and hand it back over to you, Natalie.
Thank you so much, Alex. That is an amazing synopsis. I think it's great. And extra thank you as well. I know you've worked so hard with Staff Sergeant Gates and Chief Greenwood on this entire plan. It looks wonderful. It's really exciting. So Tammy, I unfortunately can't see who is raising hands, etc. So if you could maybe share whomever has the question, that would be great, and we'll go from there. And I can't see you right now, Tammy. Can you hear me, Tammy?
Sorry about that. Greg
That's
Ferguson
okay.
raised his hand.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Go ahead, Greg.
Thanks, Councillor Harris. I think it's a question not so much for Alex, but for the group. I'm looking at the spreadsheet, number 5. I'm not sure which slide it was, in which the preface is Barrie Police Service, but it says, work towards creating community facility which individuals can access a range of health and social services from multiple providers in a coordinated fashion. I'm not sure. I thank Chief Greenwood and Sergeant Gates and the team for stepping forward, but why the lead on that would be Barrie Police Service when it, it relates specifically to a facility, and B, health and social services, and would it be more appropriate to find a lead such as the city of Barrie and or the county of Simcoe to lead that specific action item? So I was just wondering the background around the Barrie Police Service being the lead on that.
Chief Greenwood or Staff Sergeant Gates, would you guys like to answer that question?
This is one that has been discussed with individuals in our community, whether it was from a BIA perspective. There is a group, I can say that there's a group of individuals, philanthropists, that are hoping to work with CMHA, the County of Simcoe, Barrie Police, because I do sit at the table with this group of individuals. So it was one that has had some discussion over the last, I would say, year in regards to it. So right now we identified Barrie Police because I sit at the table. CMHA has just come on most recently. I see this as a community response from a city perspective. The county, with some of the services that I would hope to see in this social services campus concept, would be very active in it. So we left it as Barrie Police because there was not one, whether it was the city or the county or CMHA, we're willing to take this on right now, but I think it is something that we need to work towards, and I didn't want it taken off the plan at this time, because I think as a city, we can be a lead across the country in regards to this type of response. And one of the other items that Barrie Police is working on is developing a community justice center proposal. And I would see building the social services campus concept, or this center that would draw services, draw individuals, would also house the Justice Center. So we will continue to work in identifying a long-term lead on this one.
Thank you, Chief Greenwood. Did you have a follow-up with that, Greg?
Yes, yeah. So obviously, what will be critical in my mind is the partners, which is currently left blank in the plan. So I think the partners in this will be critical because, you know, as the chief has said, you know, the police service is prepared to lead it, but it's going to require a lot of coordination from a lot of partners outside of the police service, I think, to make that action item happen. So it'll be interesting to see who agrees to step up as partners and to make that action item come about. Thanks, Councillor Harris.
From the police perspective, this, when you look at the theme there or the action that's required, it wouldn't traditionally be a police service to lead something like this. So we're hoping that we can identify someone in the community that can lead it, whether it's city, county, CMHA, or one of the other partners in our community. So it's not one that we want to continue to lead, but I didn't want it removed from the plan. So that's why we kept police there. But that's a preliminary lead, not a long-term lead.
That's good information. Thank you, Chief Greenwood. Thank you, Greg. I'll hold my questions to the end. I have a question about that little square as well. But Tammy, who do we have next for questions?
Don't see anybody am I missing somebody? Oh, John Clark.
Great. Go ahead, John.
Hi, so thank you. I wanted to just echo the feeling. This is an amazing amount of work, and it's an excellent plan. I think actually shocking how much has come together and how many there are. Greg, I just wanted to pick up on your point and answer the question or make a suggestion around the question that was asked around the 2 yellow leads. I think one of the things we've learned as a committee is that the community tables and the round tables were excellent. There was lots of really good ideas, but then when time came and rubber had to hit the road, it became harder and harder to find partners. And so I think that's something that we need to take away and maybe table for the next time, because there will be another plan to be made in a few years, which I know nobody wants to hear, but there will be. And the learning from that, which is, it's great to come to the tables, but then if you're championing something, we need to step up. So you asked the question about the 2 yellow leads, and I think that if we can't find the people to lead this, then perhaps this does need to go forward without those have it mentioned or tabled, so that the next time we create a plan, we can go forward. So that's, I want to put that on the table for discussion.
Thank you, John. Anybody like to comment on that?
Natalie, can I just comment that I am scheduling a meeting with CMHA on the specific, that number 5, and I'm hoping that they may wish to be identified preliminary as one of the leads there. It could be a dual lead, and that may be helpful, and then list some of the partners such as Salvation Army is one as a service that could be there. The county would be one of the clients, whether it's from housing, and even if we could have a nurse practitioner from RVH there to support individuals coming to that physical location. So there's, but it's working towards, so it's not at the end of 4 years we're going to have something up and running, but we need to keep the momentum going on this item.
For sure. Thank you, Chief Greenwood. Anyone else, would you like to comment on the yellow zones?
Just
In regards
to clarify again, I guess the question is, if in the event that CMHA isn't able to partner on number 6, and if the county of Simcoe isn't able to step up and take on number 13, that we do hope they will, and we have good indication that they will. In the event that that happens, can this plan move forward without those 2 actions? And John suggests we should move forward given what we've got.
If I could just make a quick comment. Sorry, I don't know how to put my hand up. I
Sure,
apologize.
go
You know, I think it is a great idea and you know, hopeful goal. I will say that this is, you know, we discussed a community hub of this type, you know, back in 2010, and prior to that, there was others. So I think it's really important in these early stages to really look at what, you know, I know that we talk about vulnerable populations being targeted, but we really need to drill down what that looks like, because what ends up happening is when you're having the scope too broad, people start to lose interest. So I think it's really important to be really realistic of who the target population is and really start to drill down on that quickly. Because like I said, 2010, we started the conversation and we ended up with only a couple of partners at the table at the end of that discussion. We had 20 some odd partners at the beginning of the last discussion around a community hub. And so I would just say, keep it really, really, you know, we might want to do some strategic planning around what that looks like, of what that hub target demographic is in a drilled down capacity, and not keep it too broad. Otherwise, it just ends up being too much of a broad stroke, and then it doesn't end up coming to fruition, would be my suggestion from experience.
And that is valuable experience, Sarah. Yes, great point. I agree. Again, I'll have to comment on that later.
I think Dawn had a comment too.
Perfect. Dawn, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Councillor Harris, for the opportunity to speak. I wanted to bring to the committee's attention and number 5, while it indicates that the partners will work towards creating a community facility, what may happen with this type of plan, and certainly has happened in other cases, is there's an expectation of delivery on all of these in a relatively short period of time. As Ms. Petal had indicated, there have been attempts in the past for the community partners to come together. They do have varying timelines and varying lease arrangements. So this may be seen by the community as something that could be appear to be forced to happen, and that may not be feasible. So I would just raise that to the committee's attention before you consider adopting actions that maybe are not something that are easily delivered. The work towards is good wording for that, but there are independent organizations with their own boards of directors who will make their own decisions on whether or not they would want a shared facility. And there may be an expectation for the city to provide a facility, even though the county is the lead for social services and as deemed by the province. So that's just a thought I wanted to make sure that the committee had in their minds.
Thank you, Dawn. That's great information. I guess it might be valuable to bump in here and ask my questions surrounding the community facility plan, if that's okay with everyone, because it's pertinent. I was just looking to maybe for Chief Greenwood to elaborate on what that plan looks like to date. Is there any concrete groups that are already a member of the plan? And also, have other city models with community hubs like this been looked into already? I know there are some great ones out there.
Thank you very much, Councillor Harris. There is a group of individuals from I would say a philanthropist's perspective, along with CMHA and the Barrie Police, that have met along with the mayor, and there have been some discussions at the county level along with our local MPP on this issue. The idea was not for the city of Barrie to own a facility or develop a city or a facility or identify a facility. I think it was still at the very preliminary levels, and I know there are some other models that we can assess. So that is why we're using the term work towards. So we're not, but I understand Dawn's comment in regards to that. We want to be able, within the 4 years, deliver something with realistic expectations, not ones that we can't meet, but with plans, like a strategic plan. Sometimes you can meet all of your priorities, and then there are occasions where you're unable to meet something, and we have to acknowledge that that may happen in some of these. So we're still at the preliminary stages, and I think when Sarah spoke, Sarah, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I'm assuming you mean pathways. Is that accurate?
Yeah, Pathways was what was the outcome of the 2010 community symposium to build a community hub. Yes.
So, and I think in 2010, I don't think our community or our city was at a point that they were interested in something like that. There may have been individual organizations, but
they actually co-sponsored the event. So it was in 2010, the city of Barrie and the county of Simcoe co-sponsored the community symposium to look at a community hub. And I can send you this information, Chief Greenwood. You might just not be aware of it from past stuff.
No, I am aware of it. We had members of the Barrie that were involved in
yeah,
that.
for sure.
In 2010 at that time, but I know that it developed ways, and I don't think the community was ready at the time that it was presented to council. I think that was in 2014, but I think we're in a different position in our community now. I think there's a willingness for people in the community, within the social organizations, to see some benefits on a collaborative approach to this safety issue.
For sure. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Chief Greenwood. That's great. I do have a question from Mia. Great work and kudos to the BPS and Mass LBP. Is this presentation available to the members, and can this information from today be shared with the leadership in the CSWB membership organizations? Thanks.
Just on behalf of Alex, Val, and myself, and those that were produced this, the Excel spreadsheet and the PowerPoint presentation, I think it's critical that it goes to all of the organizations for their review. And then when we come back with the text for the community safety and well-being plan, we indicated December the 11th. I think it would be critical that we meet the following week to ensure that everybody's had the opportunity to review the text and ensure that we have collected all the information to ensure that we're successful when we do go to council, that it will be received at council.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Chief Greenwood. Councillor Harvey has a question.
Thanks, Nat. Actually, I just wanted to touch base again on number 5 here when they're talking about this community facility, which, like, I mean, I would use the terminology a hub per se. I know Ms. McAlpine talked about leases of the partners and stuff, obviously all terminating at different periods of time. But what I would envision for a hub would be not necessarily that you want all of their services to go there, but to, let's say, have an office available for each of these partners that would want to be a part of it. Plus, it would be a lot quicker and easier to get this off the ground and be able to provide wraparound services for the health and social services for the people in the areas that are obviously being targeted, especially for our marginalized community. So I think we got to look at this from a smaller perspective of opposed to expecting all these large agencies to be relocating to one location. And I've seen it work very well when it comes to like a domestic violence hub that's been operating for several years and quite successfully, where it's basically one-stop shopping for domestic violence victims. But I don't know if maybe that's what the intent is of that, but that's what I would think would be a quick way to be able to get this up and running. But obviously funding's the big concern. But it's great to hear that we do have some philanthropists in the area that are willing to step up to the plate.
Thank you, Councillor Harvey. I agree. Are there any other questions? No? Okay, that's wonderful. I do have another question. I was wondering about the pandemic plan. I was really happy to hear that we have that on the list. Do we have a time frame for that plan yet?
Yeah, Chief Mainprize, I'm wondering if this might come back to you. You know, my understanding from our conversations is that the Simcoe Muskoka District Health Unit is going to be developing the pandemic plan for the county level first. And then after that pandemic plan is updated at the county level, it then comes to the city of Barrie to identify how to work on the items that come to the city from that plan and make sure the implementation can be moved forward appropriately. So there's a sequencing issue in terms of timelines where the county needs to do that work first before Barrie can then work on updating its pandemic plan. But I'm not sure if you have more details that you'd like to provide.
Yeah, so thank you for the question. I'm happy to provide some more information. So the county and the city do have separate emergency plans. They do reference each other, and there are some overlap between the plans, but they are actually different because of the services that the county provides. The city's not actually part of the county, although we do some of the services they provide. Certainly there's an overlap with social services, housing, and so forth. So the city is developing our own plan specific to what we need to manage within the city, but certainly there is some overlap between the two with respect to the aforementioned things like housing and social services. So they're not, one is not dependent on the other. We are working on what we each need to do for the services that we provide, and they will sync up when they're completed.
That's great. Thank you, Chief Mainprize.
Sorry, it's Mia. And if there's any questions for the health unit, I can bring any questions forward related to the pandemic piece, because I know I had linked one of our emergency response coordinators with Alex earlier back in the summer, so that she can share any kind of supports that our agency can provide for the city's pandemic planning. And I know that they're willing to support the any requests that come forward.
That's great. Thanks, Mia. Any other questions or comments? Oh, Councillor Harvey.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, and this might be a question for Chief Greenwood. I know it doesn't directly spell it out in here, but I know in the previous presentation, it directly did spell out a safe consumption site. So I'm just kind of curious where that stands within this plan, because there's some terminology in some of the areas of this plan that it could potentially fit under, but it doesn't directly spell it out, whereas it did back in the summer.
Thank you very much, Councillor Harvey. If everybody is to draw their attention to number 10 under it's item number 10, but it's safety is for everyone. And the wording there is Simcoe Muskoka District Health Unit will work with partners in Barrie to reduce harms from drug use by increasing access to naloxone. So if you think about the Simcoe Muskoka opiate strategy, that is what they're currently doing. And then when we use the term advancing plans for other harm reduction services and creating an updated Simcoe Muskoka drug strategy. So that's, we have replaced that item as the action to address the opiate crisis that we're facing in our city.
Great, thanks a lot. I was just curious where it fit into the whole grand scheme of things here.
I can add as well. It's Mia Brown from the Health Unit. So we are, the Simcoe Muskoka Opioid Strategy is wrapping up their 3-year term in December of this year, and we are conducting a visioning session with our membership pillars in December so that we can plan for 2021 and beyond. And so the SCS work does fall under the action item plans within the Simcoe Muskoka Opioid Strategy, and our anticipation would be that we are anticipating that we would be moving forward with a drug strategy of some kind for the region because we do have the momentum and we do have the interest from the pillar membership organizations in the region. So I don't know what will be called, if it'll be just a drug strategy rather than an opiate strategy. We don't have any of that information until we have those visioning sessions, but we will continue to do work under all of the different pillars, which is, you know, the prevention pillar, the treatment pillar, the harm reduction pillar, and the enforcement pillar work.
That's great. Thanks, Mia. Yes, Councillor Harvey, I just wanted to also say, yeah, that's a great point. I think, especially with the conversations with the SCS on the city council level, going forward, at least Councillor Harvey and I can know the language properly and be able to advocate for the entire plan with what is in front of us. I think it's great. So that's great. Any other questions? Okay, so I guess maybe we can talk about next steps, Chief Greenwood and Alex.
Sure. I'll just quickly put up my screen again so folks can see the next steps. Hopefully folks can see this. Give me a thumbs up if you can. No, not yet. Oh yeah, good. Okay, great. So far, I'm interpreting the conversation that, unless I'm hearing otherwise, we've got committee support for the actions as described at this level. There is comfort moving forward with the plan in the event that we can't find leads for the 2 yellow action items, and they can be noted as items that were developed but not implemented in this plan, but left potentially for a future plan to pick up in the plan. If that happens, hopefully it won't. We're working on completing the draft document, so all of the various items here. There is a process there where the leads and partners for each of the actions will get a final review on the text related to their specific action to make sure that we have their final go ahead in terms of how that's described. So that's going to be happening in the next week or two. And then we'll put all of that together along with the introductory text and bring it to the committee. And the week of December 11th is our target date for that. So, you know, in case there's a few hiccups along the way, we'll do our best to make it there. But I think we should be able to do that. Pretty confident about that. Then in terms of next steps, it sounds like, you know, hoping to get pretty quickly, you know, within a week or so, folks to review that document and raise any potential concerns, if there are any, with the text as described. But ultimately, we hope to be able to integrate any final concerns into that document so that we can send it to a designer, polish it up, make it look great, and bring it back to council in January. Chief Greenwood, is there anything else that you'd like to add? We will also, in terms of a question, I believe, from Mia around those who were involved in shaping the original actions, that over the next couple of weeks, we'll make sure that we can report back coming out of this committee meeting. We're in the final stretches. Here's what's happening. Here's where we're headed. Let us know if we've missed anything important, and we'll integrate that into the document that comes before you. So we want to make sure that everybody's aware and apprised of how this is all coming together by the end of the year. Chief Greenwood.
Thank you very much, Alex. Just to follow up in regards to commitment from everybody that is sitting at the table or the committee, we would like everybody to review what we have presented today. Chief Main Prize, from a process perspective, can we get an endorsement of the concepts today in regards to what has been presented? You have a commitment from me that I will be following up on the yellow areas and the comments that were made by Mr. Ferguson in regards to the campus model or the facilities model. So we'll have, and I'll also follow up with CMHA on ownership of the other item, number 6. So, and I'm looking from the spreadsheet, not the PowerPoint presentation. So when I'm looking at numbers, so my commitment to the committee is I'll follow up on item number 6 with CMHA. I will follow up with the county on number 12 and 13. That just providing the committee with each of these action items will have a full page in the plan. So there is some robust information that can be provided to council on these items. So I'll follow up with those commitments. If we can get an endorsement to what we have presented today, that would be helpful. Further review and input from members of the committee. Alex, what is the date that you would require that from? A week from today?
In terms of the current document, what's being presented to them, yeah, a week from today would be a good deadline, so that I can make sure that I'm aware of any concerns.
So that would be December the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm wondering if and then you would have the text back to the committee in a more robust form on the 11th of December.
Yeah, barring any issues in terms of back and forth with partners and leads, because we do need to make sure that they're signed off on that content. The 11th is our goal.
Okay, and then I think it would be practical, and I know it's getting very into the peak of the holiday season, but we have the benefit of meeting remotely. So I'm wondering if the 17th of December would be a time for all of us to meet in the afternoon to endorse or approve, not just endorse, but approve the plan so we can send it off to the designers. So they will be able to do that work to bring it back to the committee in January, so we can target some dates, and knowing what not in-depth knowledge of what is happening on the agenda for council in January, but there's a lot of time spent on budget and business plan at that time. So I don't think we can get Chief Main Prize or city members could comment that I don't think we would get on the agenda in January. It would probably be later into February.
Ms. McAlpine?
Just from what I've seen on the budget planning agenda, I would suggest that nothing until at least after January 20th.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, go ahead, Ms. McAlpine.
Sorry, Councillor Harris. The recommendations from this committee would flow up through Finance and Corporate, unless I'm mistaken, Tammy, and then to General Committee, then to Council. So timing wise, it would be dependent on the next Finance and Corporate Services Committee meeting. And if you were looking for a suggestion in terms of how to proceed today, in terms of the committee and a motion, I could certainly assist with that if you wished.
You took the words out of my mouth. Thank you, Ms. McAlpine. If you could do that, if you have a suggestion, that would be great. I was figuring we would need to make something official.
Certainly. So what the committee might want to consider, based on what I've heard here, is that the action items identified in the document circulated on November 26, 2020, as part of our shared plan for a safer Barrie, be endorsed in principle and form the basis of the community safety and well-being plan to be presented to General Committee and Council.
Thank you, Ms. McAlpine. I guess, has everyone heard that okay? Did anyone need that to be repeated? No, everyone's good.
That
Okay.
sounds like Miss McAlpine's clerk days coming back.
Yeah, she's got that down pat, that's for sure. Absolutely, thank you. So I guess we can't do a show of hands with everyone, but maybe should we go around and just do a verbal vote, Ms. McAlpine? Is that what you recommend?
I can see most of the people, so and perhaps it's just then asking anyone who doesn't have their camera on if they have any objections. I think you could ask if are there anyone who are those in favor, and then are there any objections, and then perhaps the three people who don't have their cameras on could speak up if they have any objections.
Okay, that's great. So I will ask for those who are in favor of the motion that Ms. McAlpine just presented, if you could please raise your hand. Great.
My hand is raised.
Okay, Mia, great. Brian, are you there? I don't know, is Brian, yeah, Brian's a voter. Do you have any objections, Brian? Well, I believe that's enough of us anyways. Thank you so much. That's great.
Do we need someone to put that forward as a motion and seconder and then all in favor? Or are we fine in the format that we just did?
Oh, Brian says no objection. So it is unanimous. That's great. So I did, Ms. McAlpine, did you want us to do a seconder as well? I can put it.
Sorry, at a committee, you don't need, at an advisory committee level, you don't need a seconder, but I wasn't moving it because I'm not a committee member. I believe from Councillor Harvey's comments, he might have been suggesting that if he wasn't moving it, he would be willing to move it. So
I am more than comfortable to put it on the floor as printed.
Perfect. Thank you. So Councillor Harvey has put the motion on the floor as printed, and it was voted in favor unanimously. Congratulations, and thank you to everyone for all of your hard work. I agree, this is a very extensive document. It's exciting to see how much of it came to fruition in, I think, a short period of time. It seems like yesterday we were sitting around pre-COVID in a room together and discussing the timelines that we're sitting at right now. So thank you very much. We'll just follow through with the city with our next steps. And meeting is adjourned unless Chief Greenwood, did you have anything final? Yes, okay, carry on.
Just wanted to thank all those involved. Really appreciate those that contributed to make the plan, and a special thank you to Val and Alex. And Tammy, are you going to send a meeting invite out to the members for December the 17th? We didn't actually confirm if that was a date that was viable for everybody on the committee.
I can do that, just as long as okay with everybody. I can do that.
So maybe, should we show a raise of hands in regards to December the 17th? It just makes it easier if we have enough people.
Yes, Mia says yes.
Okay.
Same time frame, 2:30?
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
I can do that.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. And we'll visibly, remotely see everybody. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
great day.
you.
Everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.